Hey guys, tonight we're going to take a long, slow journey back to a truly remarkable era, a golden age of innovation and quiet brilliance. We're heading to the Song Dynasty of China, a period often overshadowed by more boisterous empires, but one that quietly hummed with genius. Our focus isn't on grand battles or imperial dramas, but on the truly fascinating and often forgotten inventions that will soothe you. Imagine yourself not scrolling through a sleek smartphone, but perhaps observing a complex water-powered clock, its gears turning with a gentle, rhythmic hum, or perhaps admiring a piece of delicate porcelain, its surface cool and smooth under your fingertips. You probably won't survive the mental image without feeling a strange appreciation for the quiet ingenuity of the past. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're up for it, drop a comment below with where you're listening from and what time it is. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You find yourself transported to a bustling yet surprisingly ordered city in Song Dynasty, China. Perhaps Kaifeng, the northern Song capital. The air is filled with the faint scent of ink, damp paper, and the subtle aroma of tea. Distant street vendors call out their wares, but beneath that gentle hum of city life, you sense a deeper current of intellectual ferment. You walk past scholarly academies, bustling markets, and quiet workshops, each a hive of understated activity. A mainstream historical fact is that the Song Dynasty 960 to 1279 AD was a period of extraordinary technological and cultural advancement, often considered one of the most innovative eras in Chinese history, if not world history. While the compass and gunpowder are often attributed to earlier periods, the Song Dynasty saw their widespread application, refinement, and often the invention of more complex devices. It was a time when practical solutions met scientific curiosity. Now, for a quirky tidbit among the most awe-inspiring and frankly soothing innovations were their astronomical clocks and observatories. One of the most famous was the cosmic engine, or water-powered astronomical clock tower, designed by the polymath Su Song in the 11th century. This wasn't just a clock. It was a towering, intricate mechanism driven by water, with a revolving armillary sphere on top that tracked celestial movements. Imagine gazing up at this magnificent structure, its internal gears slowly turning with a gentle, rhythmic whisper, reflecting the silent, majestic turning of the heavens. It sounds less like a clock and more like a giant, meditative sculpture, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the primary motivation for such complex astronomical instruments was purely scientific curiosity, or if it was also deeply intertwined with imperial legitimacy. As accurate celestial observations were believed to reflect the emperor's mandate from heaven. Was it pure science or sacred politics? Regardless, the sheer ingenuity and the quiet, steady operation of these devices were remarkable. You'd stand there, perhaps at dusk, watching the stars appear, their ancient dance echoed by the gentle turning of the observatory's spheres, feeling a profound sense of understand the vast, silent universe. One slow, intricate gear turn at a time. From the tranquil observation of celestial mechanics, your attention now shifts to an invention that revolutionized communication and knowledge dissemination, albeit with a quiet, almost understated impact: movable type printing. This was a technological leap that subtly reshaped Song Dynasty society, making books, information, and ideas more accessible than ever before. A mainstream historical fact is that while woodblock printing had existed in China for centuries, the Song Dynasty saw the invention of movable type credited to by Sheng in the 11th century. Unlike woodblock printing, which required carving an entire page, movable type involved creating individual characters that could be arranged and rearranged, greatly speeding up the printing process for diverse texts. You would imagine a craftsman meticulously selecting individual clay characters from a tray, arranging them into a perfectly aligned block of text, ready for inking. It was an intellectual puzzle turned into a powerful production tool. Now, for a quirky tidbit, Bai Shang's original movable type was made of baked clay, which was fragile. Later, during the Northern Song period, types made of wood and even metal were developed, though the complex nature of Chinese characters, thousands of them, meant that woodblock printing often remained more common for large-scale editions. However, movable type was particularly useful for smaller runs, commentaries, or new editions of books, allowing for greater flexibility and speed. Imagine a scholar, instead of painstakingly copying a text by hand, now having access to multiple printed copies, perhaps even a new edition with a quickly printed commentary. It sounds like the ancient world's version of a quick print shop, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the invention of movable type in China had as profound and immediate a societal impact as its later development in Europe by Gutenberg. Some argue that the sheer number of Chinese characters made it less practical for widespread adoption, while others emphasize its quiet but significant role in disseminating scholarly works and official documents. Was it a revolution or a gradual evolution? Regardless, the subtle efficiency of movable type allowed knowledge to flow more freely, silently fueling the intellectual and cultural flourishing of the Song Dynasty. You would sense the quiet hum of the printing workshop, the rhythmic thump of the press, creating not noise, but knowledge, one carefully arranged character at a time. It truly helped word spread far and wide, without raising a fuss, from the quiet world of printing. Your imagination now shifts to a substance more commonly associated with thunder and fury. Yet in the Song Dynasty, early gunpowder gadgets found surprising, often less violent, and even subtly soothing applications. This wasn't just about explosions. It was about controlled energy for remarkable effects. A mainstream historical fact is that gunpowder, originally invented in China centuries before the Song Dynasty, was significantly refined and widely utilized during this period. While its military applications like rockets and bombs are well known, the Song also explored its use in various less aggressive and sometimes surprisingly mundane ways. You would encounter, for instance, early forms of fireworks and firecrackers, not just for warfare, but for celebrations. Their gentle crackle and soft bursts of light illuminating festive nights. Now, for a quirky tidbit, beyond fireworks, gunpowder was sometimes incorporated into ingenious, self-propelling devices that were more curiosities than weapons. Imagine a fire dragon contraption designed for parades that would slowly propel itself forward with small, controlled bursts of gunpowder, emitting gentle plumes of smoke. Or perhaps an early form of a flamethrower, not used for combat, but for clearing brush or even for creating theatrical effects in imperial gardens. These were less about destruction and more about harnessing a powerful force for a controlled, even elegant, spectacle. It sounds less like a weapon and more like an ancient special effect, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the initial development of gunpowder was primarily driven by alchemical experiments seeking immortality, or if its military potential was recognized early on. Was it a peaceful discovery turned violent, or always a tool of power? Regardless, the Song Dynasty's exploration of gunpowder's quieter applications reveals a society that sought to understand and harness forces for diverse purposes. You would feel the faint tremor of a distant firecracker, or see the gentle rise of smoke from a ceremonial device, appreciating the ingenuity that could coax beauty and utility from such a volatile compound. The surprising gentleness of these early gunpowder gadgets reminds you that even the most formidable inventions can have a softer side. Asterisk from the controlled bursts of gunpowder. Your mind now drifts to an invention that revolutionized navigation and subtly shaped global exploration, doing so with a quiet, unwavering consistency, the compass's calm spin. In the Song Dynasty, this seemingly simple device underwent a nuanced evolution, making journeys across vast and featureless landscapes far less daunting. Mastream. Historical fact is that the magnetic compass was invented in China much earlier. Then the Song Dynasty, originally used for geomancy, feng shui, and divination to align buildings auspiciously. However, it was during the Song Dynasty that the compass was refined and crucially applied for maritime navigation on a widespread scale. This transformation from a divinatory tool to an indispensable aid for sailors was a game changer. You would imagine a ship captain, far from any coastline, relying on the quiet, persistent pull of the magnetic needle, guiding his vessel across the vast, featureless ocean. Now for a quirky tidbit. The earliest navigational compasses in the Song Dynasty were not always the familiar, dry pivot needle. Some early versions were wet compasses, where a magnetized needle floated in a bowl of water, or even sophisticated, fish-shaped compasses that would float and point south. The Chinese typically indicated south rather than north. Imagine a small wooden fish gently bobbing in a bowl of water on a rocking ship, always pointing steadfastly in the same direction. A silent, almost magical guide. It certainly sounds more mystical than a modern GPS, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the widespread adoption of the compass for maritime navigation was primarily driven by the expansion of Song Dynasty trade, or if it was a direct result of government patronage and scientific inquiry. Was it economic necessity or scientific curiosity? Regardless, the compass's subtle, unwavering ability to point the way transformed travel. You would sense the quiet reassurance emanating from that small, spinning needle, a calming presence in the vastness of the ocean or the endlessness of the desert. The compass, with its calm, persistent spin, was a silent guardian, guiding countless journeys across the world, long before it became a ubiquitous symbol of exploration. Its very nature was one of quiet, constant guidance. From the subtle guidance of the compass, your attention now drifts to an artistic and technological marvel that epitomizes the quiet elegance of the Song Dynasty: porcelain perfection. These delicate ceramics weren't just utilitarian objects. They were masterpieces of craftsmanship. Their smooth surfaces and subtle glazes possessing a serene, almost meditative quality. A mainstream historical fact is that the Song Dynasty is widely considered the zenith of Chinese porcelain production, particularly for its monochrome wares. Potters developed incredibly sophisticated firing techniques and perfected subtle glazes, like celadon, with colors ranging from pale jade green to sky blue. These pieces were admired for their simple, elegant forms and exquisite, almost ethereal glazes that seemed to glow from within. You would hold a Song celadon bowl in your hands, feeling its cool, smooth surface, admiring the nuanced depth of its single, perfect color. It was functional art, designed for daily use, but crafted with profound aesthetic sensibility. Now, for a quirky tidbit. The highly sought-after crackle patterns found on some Song Dynasty celadon wares, which looked like fine, irregular fissures in the glaze, were often not accidental, while some natural crackle could occur. Master potters developed techniques to intentionally create these delicate networks, turning a potential flaw into a highly prized aesthetic feature. Imagine a potter meticulously controlling the cooling process of a kiln, coaxing these tiny, intricate patterns to emerge on the surface of a bowl, transforming a simple piece of clay into a visual poem. It certainly adds a layer of intentional artistry to something that seems like a happy accident, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the preference for monochrome glazes and simple forms in Song porcelain was a reflection of broader philosophical influences like Neo-Confucianism's emphasis on simplicity and inner truth, or if it was simply an aesthetic evolution driven by the technical mastery of glazes. Was it philosophy or just good taste? Regardless, the serene beauty of Song porcelain permeated daily life for the elite and eventually, in simpler forms, for commoners. You would hear the gentle clink of a porcelain cup or the soft whisper of fingers tracing a smooth, cool vase, feeling a quiet sense of calm from its timeless elegance. These objects, with their quiet perfection, offered a subtle form of daily solace in the bustling world of the song. From the serene perfection of porcelain, an engineering marvel that quietly shaped the landscape and facilitated trade, the bridges of iron and wood. The Song Dynasty was an era of remarkable architectural and engineering prowess, and their construction of complex, durable bridges, often with ingenious designs, was a testament to their quiet innovation. A mainstream historical fact is that the Song Dynasty engineers were renowned for their sophisticated bridge-building techniques, utilizing both timber and, notably, iron. They constructed impressive arched bridges, cantilever bridges, and even floating pontoon bridges that could be assembled and disassembled. One of the most famous examples, though dating slightly earlier, but still representative of the era's capabilities, is the Rainbow Bridge depicted in the famous painting along the river during the Qingming Festival. A magnificent arched structure that allowed boats to pass underneath without lowering their masts. You would stand on the bank of a wide river, gazing at a gracefully arcing bridge, its sturdy timber or ironwork a testament to human ingenuity, quietly connecting to bustling shores. Now, for a quirky tidbit, some of these bridges incorporated ingenious mechanical features. For example, Some pontoon bridges were designed to be quickly opened or swung aside to allow large ships to pass, then reconnected with remarkable efficiency. Imagine a bustling river suddenly parting as sections of a wooden bridge gracefully swing open, allowing a tall-masted ship to glide through, only to seamlessly close again moments later. The entire operation executed with quiet precision. It sounds like ancient traffic control, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the widespread construction of such advanced bridges was primarily driven by the need to facilitate burgeoning internal trade and transportation, or if it also served as a symbol of imperial power and technological sophistication. Was it economic necessity or monumental display? Regardless, these bridges were vital arteries for the empire, quietly enabling the flow of goods, people, and ideas. You would hear the gentle creak of wooden planks underfoot, the distant murmur of river currents below, and sense the steady reliability of these structures, allowing for smooth, uninterrupted passage. The Song Dynasty's bridges, silent and steadfast, offered a soothing pathway across turbulent waters, connecting communities and commerce with quiet grace. Section 7, from the sturdy grace of bridges. Your thoughts now descend, world of hydraulic engineering. The Song Dynasty harnessed the power of flowing water, not just for irrigation, but for a remarkable array of ingenious machines, their gentle workings providing a quiet hum of innovation. A mainstream historical fact is that the Song Dynasty made significant advancements in hydraulic engineering, extending beyond simple irrigation systems. They developed sophisticated water-powered machinery for various purposes, including grinding grain, operating bellows for metallurgy, and even for early forms of textile production. These machines utilized water wheels and complex gear systems, transforming the steady flow of water into mechanical energy. You would hear the gentle, consistent splash of a large water wheel turning, followed by the rhythmic thump-thump of a trip hammer or the steady whir of a grinding stone. It was an era where the silent power of nature was expertly put to work. Now, for a quirky tidbit, one of the most fascinating applications of Song hydraulic engineering was in their remarkable astronomical clocks. As we touched on earlier, Song's cosmic engine was entirely water-powered, using a complex system of scoops and weights activated by a constant water flow to drive its intricate gears and spheres. This wasn't just a basic water mill. It was a highly precise and delicate mechanism kept in continuous, gentle motion by the force of water. Imagine standing beside such a machine, mesmerized by the quiet, tireless movement of water driving a mechanism that tracked the heavens. It sounds less like a factory and more like a kinetic sculpture, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the widespread adoption of water-powered machinery in the Song Dynasty was primarily driven by a shortage of manual labor, or if it was a direct result of intellectual curiosity and the pursuit of efficiency, was it necessity or ingenuity? Regardless, the gentle, persistent force of water was central to many of their quieter innovations. You would sense the steady, almost hypnotic rhythm of flowing water, the soft whir of gears, and the occasional, gentle clink of metal, all contributing to a peaceful symphony of productivity. The hydraulic engineering of the Song Dynasty provided a quiet, rhythmic backdrop to daily life, a soothing testament to their mastery over natural forces. From the gentle flow of water-powered machinery, your thoughts now turn to an invention that, while seemingly intangible, revolutionized commerce and brought a subtle whisper of modernity to the bustling markets. Paper money's whisper. In the Song Dynasty, this innovation quietly shifted the very nature of wealth and exchange. A mainstream historical fact is that the Song Dynasty was the first government in the world to issue universally circulating paper currency. While earlier forms of paper certificates and promissory notes existed, the Song government's official issuance of jawazi and hizi marked a monumental shift from traditional metallic coinage. This was driven by a shortage of copper for coins and the rapid expansion of commerce, making bulky coins impractical for large transactions. You would observe merchants in a busy market, no longer counting endless strings of heavy copper coins, but instead discreetly exchanging crisp, printed paper notes, their faces etched with the quiet satisfaction of a convenient transaction. Now for a quirky tidbit to combat counterfeiting. Song Dynasty paper money was incredibly intricate in its design, featuring complex patterns, multiple colors, and even watermarks, making it difficult to replicate. Some notes even included warnings about the severe penalties for forgery, making it a rather intimidating piece of paper. Imagine holding a piece of this early currency, admiring its delicate artistry and feeling the subtle texture of the paper, knowing it represented immense value, yet made with the humble materials of pulp and ink. It certainly puts a new spin on designer currency, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the invention of paper money was a necessary adaptation to economic pressures or a deliberate innovation driven by the sophisticated financial thought of Song Dynasty scholars. Was it a practical solution or an intellectual breakthrough? Regardless, the quiet, almost weightless nature of paper money transforms daily transactions. You would hear the rustle of notes being exchanged, a soft, almost imperceptible sound compared to the clatter of coins. This whisper of paper currency facilitated trade, simplified large-scale transactions, and subtly sped up the rhythm of commerce, making wealth less about physical weight and more about a trust-based promise. The paper money of the Song Dynasty brought a quiet revolution to the marketplace. From the whisper of paper currency, your thoughts now shift to a realm of quiet healing and precise intervention. The art of acupuncture, needles, while not solely a Song Dynasty invention, this era saw significant advancements and standardization in Chinese medicine, bringing a calming, methodical approach to well-being. A mainstream historical fact is that acupuncture, an ancient Chinese medical practice involving the insertion of fine needles into specific points on the body, was a well-established and highly regarded form of treatment during the Song Dynasty. Medical texts from this period describe the intricate network of meridians, energy pathways, and acupoints with remarkable detail, and practitioners refine the art of diagnosis and needle placement. You would imagine a patient lying still, perhaps, in a quiet room, feeling the almost imperceptible insertion of a fine needle, followed by a sensation of gentle warmth or subtle pressure as the healing energy was believed to flow. It was a precise, often calming, process aimed at restoring balance. Now for a quirky tidbit. The Song Dynasty even saw the creation of detailed bronze models of the human body, marked with the exact locations of acupoints. These models, often hollow and filled with water or mercury, were used for educational purposes and even for examinations to test the proficiency of aspiring acupuncturists. Imagine a student carefully inserting a needle into one of these bronze figures, trying to hit the exact spot, hoping no water leaked out. A very practical and effective learning tool. It certainly sounds like a calm, focused, and incredibly precise form of ancient medical training, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the apparent effectiveness of acupuncture was purely a placebo effect, or if it had genuine physiological benefits by stimulating nerve endings or releasing endorphins. Was it ancient wisdom or an intuitive discovery of nerve pathways? Regardless, the practice offered a gentle, non-pharmacological approach to health. You would sense the quiet concentration in the healer's room, the soft glint of the fine needles, and the patient's deep, relaxed breathing. A testament to the calming power of this ancient therapy. The acupuncture of the Song Dynasty provided a quiet, methodical path to well-being, focusing on subtle energy and meticulous care. From the precise, calming insertion of acupuncture needles, your thoughts now turn to the meticulous ticking of time itself, particularly the remarkable mechanical clock's tick-tock of the Song Dynasty. These were not mere sundials. They were intricate, water-powered marvels, marking the passage of hours with a rhythmic, almost hypnotic precision. A mainstream historical fact is that the Song Dynasty saw the development of highly sophisticated, astronomical clock towers, most famously the one designed by Su Song in the 11th century, which we touched upon earlier. This wasn't just a basic time-telling device. It incorporated a complex escapement mechanism, a crucial component for regulating clock movement, similar to what's found in modern mechanical clocks, driven by a constant flow of water. It accurately displayed the time, celestial movements, and astronomical phenomena. You would stand before such a towering structure, hearing the soft, rhythmic drip-drip of water filling scoops, the gentle whir of unseen gears, and the almost imperceptible tick-tock of its internal mechanisms. It was a symphony of precision. Now for a quirky tidbit to ensure accuracy. These water-powered clocks often had overflow systems and careful temperature regulation, as the viscosity of water could change with temperature, affecting the flow rate. Imagine a dedicated attendant constantly monitoring the water level and temperature, ensuring the clock kept perfect time even through the changing seasons. It sounds like a remarkably early form of quality control for a delicate instrument, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the complexity of these mechanical clocks was primarily driven by astronomical observation and calendar making, or if it also reflected a burgeoning interest in precise timekeeping for daily urban life and commerce. Was it science for the sake of science, or for practicality? Regardless, the intricate workings of these clocks were a marvel of engineering. You would feel the quiet rhythm of time passing, marked not by a jarring chime, but by the subtle, continuous movement of water and gears. The mechanical clocks of the Song Dynasty provided a soothing, consistent backdrop to life, a testament to their quiet mastery of time itself. One gentle tick-tock at a time. From the precise, rhythmic tick-tock of mechanical clocks, your thoughts now shift to the gentle, efficient movement of travel across water. The paddle wheel boat glide. The Song Dynasty's ingenuity extended to maritime transport, developing vessels that moved with surprising grace and quiet power, revolutionizing riverine and coastal journeys. A mainstream historical fact is that the Song Dynasty extensively utilized paddle wheel boats, significantly predating their widespread adoption in the West. These vessels were propelled by large paddle wheels, often powered by human treadmills or cranks, making them highly efficient for moving against currents. On rivers or in calm coastal waters, they came in various sizes, from small ferry-like vessels to larger, multi-decked warships. You would stand on the bank of a bustling river, watching a paddle wheel boat glide smoothly by, its large wheels churning the water with a steady, rhythmic splash, a remarkably efficient way to move cargo and people. Now for a quirky tidbit. Some of the more advanced Song paddle wheel boats incorporated multiple paddle wheels, sometimes arranged in rows, and even featured defensive elements for military use, like internal compartments for archers. But for civilian transport, their beauty was in their quiet, continuous motion. Imagine being a passenger on such a boat, feeling the gentle vibration of the paddles through the deck, listening to the soft, rhythmic splish-splash as you glide upstream, seemingly effortlessly. It was a remarkably peaceful way to travel, wasn't it? Historians still argue whether the invention of the paddle wheel boat was an independent Song Dynasty innovation, or if it evolved from earlier designs, potentially with influences from other regions. Was it a truly unique breakthrough, or a culmination of existing ideas? Regardless, these boats were a testament to Song engineering, ingenuity, and their focus on practical solutions for transport. You would sense the quiet efficiency of the journey, the continuous, gentle churn of the paddles, a soothing accompaniment to the scenic riverbanks passing by. The paddle wheel boats of the Song Dynasty offered a tranquil, rhythmic mode of transport, allowing people and goods to move with a quiet grace across the watery arteries of the empire from the gentle, rhythmic churn of paddle wheel boats. Your mind now settles on another remarkable feat of Song Dynasty innovation, one that wove together artistry and engineering with a quiet, persistent hum. Silk loom innovations. The intricate beauty of Song textiles was born from ingenious machines that transformed raw silk into luxurious fabrics. China, STREM. Historical fact is that China had a long and storied history of silk production. But the Song Dynasty saw significant advancements in loom technology. Engineers developed more complex draw looms, which were large, intricate machines that allowed for the weaving of highly elaborate patterns, brocades, and tapestries with greater efficiency and precision than ever before. These looms often involved multiple operators working in concert to create stunning designs. You would hear the rhythmic clack-clack of the shuttle moving back and forth, the soft rustle of silk threads, and the low murmuring commands of the lead weaver, all contributing to a soothing symphony of creation. Now, for a quirky tidbit. Some of these advanced looms were so complex that they were considered intellectual property. Their designs closely guarded secrets. The patterns they could produce were incredibly detailed, sometimes incorporating entire scenes or intricate mythological creatures within the fabric itself. Imagine the patience and skill required to design such a complex pattern and then to operate the loom to bring it to life, thread by painstaking thread. It was less like simple weaving and more like painting with fibers, wasn't it? Historians still argue whether the complexity of Song Dynasty looms was primarily driven by the demands of the imperial court for elaborate textiles, or if it was a natural progression of engineering skill in a culture that deeply valued silk. Was it royal patronage or pure inventive genius? Regardless, these looms quietly underpinned a major industry and a significant source of imperial wealth. You would feel the gentle vibration of the floor beneath you, the repetitive yet mesmerizing motion of the loom, and the soft whisper of silk threads being transformed into shimmering cloth. The silk loom innovations of the Song Dynasty created beauty and luxury with a quiet, rhythmic precision, a testament to their mastery of both mechanics and artistry. It certainly makes you appreciate your silk pillowcase just a little bit more. From the rhythmic hum of silk looms, your mind now drifts to a ubiquitous and profoundly calming aspect of Song Dynasty life: tea culture and ceramics. In this era, the simple act of preparing and consuming tea evolved into a sophisticated art form, deeply intertwined with exquisite porcelain, offering a quiet, meditative ritual that soothed the spirit. A mainstream historical fact is that the Song Dynasty is renowned as a golden age for Chinese tea culture, particularly the preparation of powdered tea, matcha-like. Connoisseurs developed elaborate rituals for whisking tea into a frothy brew, evaluating its aroma, color, and taste with immense precision. This wasn't just about drinking a beverage. It was a sensory experience, a moment of quiet contemplation. You would imagine sitting in a serene tea house, the gentle whisper of a bamboo whisk against a porcelain bowl, the delicate scent of freshly brewed tea filling the air, and the warmth of the cup in your hands. Now, for a quirky tidbit, the development of specific ceramic wares, particularly Timoku bowls with their dark, lustrous glazes and subtle, shimmering patterns like hare's fur or oil spot, was directly linked to this tea culture. These bowls were prized for enhancing the visual appeal of the frothy green tea. Imagine holding a perfectly crafted Timoku bowl, its dark surface providing a stark yet beautiful contrast to the vibrant green of the tea, making the act of drinking a small, personal ceremony. It certainly elevated the simple tea break into a moment of pure aesthetic delight, didn't it? Historians still argue whether the refinement of Song tea culture was primarily driven by the intellectual and artistic elite seeking quiet contemplation, or if it also reflected a broader commercialization of tea, making it accessible to a wider populace. Was it spiritual pursuit or entrepreneurial spirit? Regardless, the gentle ritual of tea preparation and consumption, supported by exquisite ceramics offered a profound sense of calm. You would hear the soft clink of a teapot being set down, the quiet sip of a hot beverage, and feel a deep sense of peacefulness settle over you. The tea culture of the Song Dynasty, with its quiet elegance and perfect ceramics, offered a simple, daily path to tranquility. From the quiet contemplation of tea culture, your thoughts now drift to a more communal, yet equally soothing aspect of Song Dynasty urban life: the public baths. These weren't just places for hygiene. They were social hubs, spaces for relaxation, and gentle retreats from the bustling demands of the city, offering a quiet, shared respite. A mainstream historical fact is that public bathhouses were a common feature in Song Dynasty cities, accessible to people from various social strata. They offered facilities for washing, often with separate sections for men and women, and sometimes even provided massage services or light refreshments. These baths served as important social gathering places where people could relax, converse, and unwind after a long day. You would hear the gentle splashing of water, the low murmur of conversations, and the soothing sounds of steam rising, creating a humid, calming atmosphere. It was a communal oasis in the heart of the bustling city. Now, for a quirky tidbit. Some of the more elaborate public baths in larger Song cities might have included specific features designed for extended relaxation, such as warm pools, cooling-off areas, and even small, quiet rooms for resting. These weren't just quick dips. They were often extended, leisurely affairs, a significant part of one's daily or weekly routine. Imagine settling into a warm pool, feeling the day's tension melt away, listening to the gentle sounds of water and quiet chatter, a peaceful counterpoint to the clamor of the streets outside. It sounds remarkably similar to a modern spa experience, doesn't it? Historians still argue whether the prevalence of public baths in the Song Dynasty was primarily driven by a high standard of personal hygiene, or if it also reflected a cultural appreciation for communal relaxation and social interaction. Was it practical cleanliness or a form of social therapy? Regardless, these public spaces offered a pervasive sense of calm and rejuvenation. You would feel the warmth of the water, the soothing touch of steam on your skin, and the quiet comfort of shared relaxation. The public baths of the Song Dynasty provided a peaceful, sensory escape, allowing the urban populace to find a gentle rhythm amidst their busy lives, washing away not just dirt, but also the day's worries. As our journey through the forgotten inventions of the Song Dynasty gently concludes, you're left with a profound appreciation for an era of quiet brilliance. It's striking to consider how these ancient innovations, often overlooked, still subtly shape our echoes in modernity, reminding us that progress is a continuous, often silent, conversation across centuries. A mainstream historical fact is that many Song Dynasty inventions, such as movable type, the magnetic compass, and elements of mechanical clockwork, later found independent development or were introduced to other parts of the world, profoundly influencing global technological progress. Your daily life, from the books you read to the navigation systems you use, carries faint, almost imperceptible echoes of Song Dynasty ingenuity. Imagine your smartphone's compass app, a direct descendant of that gently spinning needle in a bowl of water, quietly guiding ancient ships. It connects your present to a surprisingly distant past. Now, for a quirky tidbit, the Song Dynasty's emphasis on intricate design, subtle aesthetics like in their porcelain, and the harnessing of natural forces like water power resonates with modern movements in sustainable design and minimalist aesthetics. Their innovations often focused on efficiency and harmony rather than sheer brute force. Imagine a contemporary designer admiring the quiet elegance of a Song celadon bowl, finding inspiration in its subtle perfection for a new, eco-friendly product. It suggests that true innovation often whispers rather than shouts. Historians still argue whether the apparent lag in the widespread adoption of some Song innovations in the West was due to cultural differences, geopolitical factors, or simply a lack of direct transmission. Was it a missed connection or a different path? Regardless, the forgotten inventions of the Song Dynasty offer a soothing reminder that profound change often emerges from quiet dedication and meticulous craftsmanship. You can now let the images of intricate clocks, delicate porcelain, and gently flowing water softly recede. The sounds of ancient workshops, the rustle of paper money, and the quiet hum of ingenious machines fade into the comforting quiet of your own space. Feel the warmth of your covers, the gentle support beneath you. Release any lingering thoughts of ancient inventions or subtle historical connections. The day's history lesson is complete, and the night is here to hold you gently. Slow, deep, and even, like the gentle lapping of waves on a distant shore. Imagine the softest moonlight filtering through your window, casting a silver glow, reassuring and calm. Allow your eyelids to grow heavy, a comforting weight, signaling the final surrender to rest. Drift away on that feeling, knowing that sleep is a gift and it is now yours to embrace. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? From the clatter of Roman wagons under a starlit sky to the soft rustle of a straw mattress, we've explored the surprisingly complex world of ancient Roman sleep. You've imagined the faint scent of lamp oil, the murmur of distant voices, and the quiet relief of a communal bath. Now, as the last echoes of those ancient nights fade, allow your own world to grow hushed. Let the gentle hum of your surroundings become a comforting background, a soft blanket for your thoughts. Feel the warmth of your covers, the gentle support beneath you. Release any lingering thoughts of ancient philosophers or sleepless emperors. The day's work is done, and the night is here to hold you gently. Let your breathing slow, deep, and even, like the gentle lapping of waves on a distant shore. Imagine the softest moonlight filtering through your window, casting a silver glow, reassuring and calm. Allow your eyelids to grow heavy, a comforting weight, signaling the final surrender to rest. Drift away on that feeling, knowing that sleep is a gift and it is now yours to embrace.